What's up guys, welcome back, and in this video let us talk about injury recovery. What you should be doing as soon after you get an injury, how do you maximize recovery, and what do you do in your whole rehabilitation program. Let me tell you guys a short and funny story, not so funny at that point of time, but 2 weeks ago I took part in a 100-meter race and the outcome was quite not surprising. I pulled my hamstring because, as you know, what you do is what you develop, what you don't do is what you lose. I do not train like a sprinter, nor have I played sport in about 3 months. So this was bound to happen. I'm stupid, I made a dumb decision. Remember, when you do something, make sure you train for it. Make sure your body is prepared. And for something like a sprint where you're giving your 100% for the next 10 to 15 seconds, it's not the best idea to go unprepared. Right now, I'm becoming an old man, I would say, so I should be a little aware. So with that being said, what do I do, or what do you do when this happens? As soon after you get an injury, something like a muscle pull or a muscle strain, what happened to me was a level 2 muscle tear. Now don't get me wrong, it was not a muscle tear. My muscle did not tear completely like how we see these powerlifters, their bicep just tears when they're doing heavy lifts, and it's quite disgusting. That did not happen, not even close. It was just, how do you say, micro tears, but not the micro tears that we want while training in the gym. Very painful, very sore, it was inflamed, I hated it. Moreover, I had fever the whole day and it was quite terrible. But what really made the difference and what got me here today, I feel great. I'm not 100%. I still need about, I think, 2 months for me to run again, which I won't be doing, that's for sure. But I'm in a great place at the moment, and what made the change was how I treated my injury. The most important thing that you have to take into consideration is what you do as soon after you get the injury, because that is what is going to determine your recovery and your rehabilitation program. If you pull your muscle, immediately ice it, compress it. By compress it, I mean tie it up tight with a crepe band-aid. You have ice inside, tie it up tight and elevate. Please do not stretch or massage your pull or your muscle tear. That is going to make it so bad. You don't want to do that. You want to ice it first, compress it, and then elevate. After about 15 minutes, that is when you assess the injury to determine how bad it is and what level or how severe the whole injury is. So with that being said, you want to do this first because the more time you waste, the more difficult it is going to get for you to rehabilitate. When this happens, in short, you want to minimize inflammation and you want to get to the repair phase as soon as possible. When this happens to a ligament or a tendon, you call it your collagen fiber production. You want to maximize that. That is a good spot. That is the time when you're recovering and when you're getting your body back to optimal. So that is what I did, and I felt so much better. I repeat, now that is the #1 step you want to take into consideration. Now, if it is just slightly swollen, it is fine. You can wait for about 2 days, but make sure you ice and compress at least 4 times a day for the next 2 or 3 days minimum. But if it's discolored, like it's all, you can see blood clots inside, you have to rush to the doctor immediately. Most likely that is going to be a complete muscle tear. So for me, it was just inflamed, slightly red. I thought I'll give it about 2 or 3 days before I visit the doctor. I compressed, I iced it, and I let it subside. Now, this is the biggest mistake that most of us make. Whenever we get injured, we convince ourselves, you know what, we should not train, we can't go to the gym, we need to recover, we need to rest. That is partly true, but you have to train your body. If your left leg is injured, train your right. You must train your body because you want to maintain optimal function. When your leg completely recovers, you need to make sure that you were as close to what you were where you left off. So for instance, if the next day I had leg, I would not train my leg, my injured leg. With that being said, that's for sure. Depends on how severe it is. I would train the other leg. There's not going to be any imbalance. In fact, it's going to help your other leg recover as well. So what I would suggest you do is, once your leg starts to recover and starts to get function, right? Start to walk, start to make sure you push it to a point where you're not feeling pain, but where you can comfortably move. Then you take yourself to the gym. Make sure you train the muscle to a very, very slight degree, limited range of motion, limited intensity, limited volume. Now what I did was I did a lot of hip flexion exercise. I did a lot of hamstring curls, single leg hamstring curls. And as time went by, I started to foam roll it when my intensity of my workout started to increase, just to remove the lactic acid and the inflammation as I kept training. With that being said, I also continue to ice, to compress, and that made a huge difference. And as time went by, I started to had some spot jumps to get as close as I can, or rather to try to mimic as close as I can to what happened while I was running. And moreover, I started to do squats. As I felt better, I started to increase the amount of weight I lifted, the intensity, the volume to my potential at that point of time. You do not want to get too ahead of yourself because it can recur. And when that happens, it is going to be extremely bad. And you want to train it to your level of potential because you do not want to lose that level of performance that you had before the injury. I hope that this is not too much to absorb and too much to digest. So this is what I did, and the point of time when I found, okay, fine, you know what, my functionality is good, I can walk, I can jog a little bit, I feel strength in my legs, I started doing front squats, I started doing light deadlifts, I started doing a little bit of sumo deadlifts, and now I'm at a point where I can even front squat 100 kgs, I can deadlift 120 kgs, I can do lunges, I can do high intensity spot jumps, and I feel completely fine. And it's just been 2 weeks. I thought that this would take me literally 3 months to even come to this position. It was so difficult, but it's all about your program, your rehabilitation program, or should I say what steps you take in order to maximize recovery and how you treat the injured area. This may be a little bit too much for you to absorb. In fact, I've done a post on my Instagram explaining what you should do when you have a muscle strain as such. Do check it out, do follow me. My handle is raldsouza.fitness right over here. Check it out and you will get an idea as to what you must be doing. With that being said, I'm feeling great now. I am training legs twice a week, easily at about 70% of my initial 1 RM, and I feel great. I'm keeping the volume low, the intensity low, and I feel the recovery every single session. I do foam roll in between sets to try to remove that extra lactic acid or those waste products, you would say, that develops or accumulates when you put pressure on the muscle. So now I'm feeling great, I'm feeling fine, and yesterday I had a great time. Mr. Gautam and Ramesh from Chennai came to Bangalore along with Kriti. We had a mad workout, I enjoyed it. And whenever you see, how should I say, family, like the whole YouTube community coming together and doing workouts, it's an amazing feeling. So I enjoyed myself, and I'm very thankful, and I'm great. I feel great rather, and super happy that it's just been 2 weeks. My legs are more or less amazing. I've seen people suffer from injuries, especially back injuries, for about 3 months, 6 months, and it keeps recurring. And all I can see in my situation is this problem or this injury getting better and better. So all I have to say is, if you do have any injury or pulled a muscle, the biggest difference, the biggest thing that's going to make a difference rather, is how you treat it soon after the injury occurs. So keep that in mind, and remember, you train for a specific function. If you're a sprinter, you train like a sprinter. What you don't do, you lose. If I'm going to train like a powerlifter or like a big bodybuilder, I'm increasing more of force production. But sprinting has a combination of force production and power. When you have no power and a lot of force, this is what is going to happen. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for all the love and support.